The committee on MOWAA continued their sitting yesterday, wey be 24th of November 2025. The chairman of the committee, Honourable Isibo Adeyin, wey dey represent Esan North East Local Government, come call on the Accountant General of Edo State, Mr. Julius Anelu, make e come explain the money matter wey concern Edo State government during Obaseki time for the MOWAA matter. Mr. Julius Anelu tok say 3,800,000,000 naira na im dem accumulate, and e tok wetin e know reach for the matter. The majority leader for the house, Honourable Jonathan Aibokan, come sit throw some questions give the Accountant General.
Now, like every other request that comes to trade, these matters are usually initiated and processed from the Ministry Department and agencies of government to the Treasury. My first matter that came to the Treasury was dated 7th of March 2022. That matter came from the Ministry of Arts, Culture and Tourism. Now, Ministry of Arts, Culture and Tourism. That matter was for 800 million naira. Two other matters came in the year 2022. Another came on the 14th of December 2022 for 300 million naira. That matter came from the Ministry of Finance. And then on the 2nd of December 2022, we received another voucher for 700 million from the Ministry of Arts, Culture and Tourism. So the total of 1.8 billion was paid. 2023, 15th of December, we received another voucher from the Ministry of Agriculture and Tourism for 1 billion naira, which was paid. Last voucher came on the 6th, on the 11th of June 2024. That voucher was for 1 billion from the Ministry of Agriculture and Tourism. So the total money that was paid, like I mentioned earlier, was 3,800,000,000 naira. Thank you.
That is yourself and your office have no knowledge of the payment of the sum of $18 million by foreign investors towards the MOWAA project.
The voucher that came to Treasury only spoke to the request. Every other documentation that has to do with what is being expected was not mentioned in the voucher. In fact, I promise you, if you look at the approving memo for the 800 million, what you will find is that the MOWAA project as at that time was cost 4.1 billion. And then, after the 800 has been released, the subsequent request, you will find that in the documentation, they stated that the 4.1 has now increased to 6.4. Now, the subsequent request was occasioned by escalating costs due to the valuation of the naira. That's how it was stated. So we skip the documents that are before us. So when requests are made to the Treasury, we only have access to the voucher and the documentation. So the only time we send vouchers back to the NDAs is when we notice that there are infractions.
We take a look at all the requests that were made to the Edo State government. The letters requesting funds from MOWAA, which subsequently led to the government paying all these monies towards the MOWAA project. Does it surprise you that every request comes along with a so-called pay us this money and the foreign partners will pay? Pay us this next one, the foreign partners will pay. Pay us this one, the foreign partners will pay. Over a period of about 3 years, and like you rightly observed, all we kept getting were requests for money, but there wasn't a single request that was ever followed based upon the last commitment of the Edo State government. We have received XYZ now from the foreign partners. Everything was just request. There was no statement as to receipt of any funds. Is that correct?
That first three vouchers that came to us was in favor of legacy restoration trust. The fourth and fifth voucher, that in had changed more, and it was so stated that legacy restoration trust cannot be changed. That's why the first three vouchers clearly see in the narration that you say MOWAA, what you now find is MOWAA. So this documentation that you speak of and what was being expected by the state, we know that counterpart fund is a commitment to drive additional funds. But none of these funds came to the treasury.
800 million naira that originated simply via a letter from MOWAA. Was that sum appropriated for by the Edo State House of Assembly in that year's appropriation law before that money was given to MOWAA?
The information we have in the treasury is what was gleaned from the vouchers submitted to treasury. Like I mentioned earlier, documentations are usually processed by the implementing agencies. They initiate.
This question, let me rephrase them. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. I say, to the best of your knowledge, was this 800 million naira contained in the appropriation law of that year?
Before any payment is effected from the treasury, our responsibility is to validate the voucher and ensure that they were processed to the treasury in line with the process. These payments that were effected, all the vouchers, they have a visual and financial budget, which shows that the
total is now 83.8 million. You are aware of that. And you are not aware of any other income coming to Edo State like grant or whatever coming to the treasury. None of them that you are aware of. So, if there was any such money, it is supposed to come to the treasury.
example, you have mentioned earlier that the rising progress we discussed. The state clearly wanted to have that. We knew at the treasury that we were expecting funds. The funds may have gone to the trustees, but the treasury had information. We knew the inputs, but we have cash projections. But in this case, with respect to MOWAA, the information that came to the treasury was the vouchers requesting for funds.
The committee chairman also called Prince Aghatise Rediawa make he too talk wetin you know reach for the matter. Prince Aghatise Rediawa come talk as they go Germany with Benin Dialogue Group with the former governor of Edo State and wetin can happen.
Mr. Chairman, please permit me to state at this juncture that whatever I say in this memo is from first-hand knowledge. I am not reporting third party. I was very much involved in all of this, as you will be seeing in the videos. Eloti Obebo was very, very instrumental in schooling Obaseki about the potentials in the artifacts. Obebo for many years had been affiliated with the Goethe Institute in Nigeria. That is the German Cultural Center in Lagos. He was an advisor. Incidentally, as we all know, Germany was holding the largest collection of many artifacts in its various museums. So it was not a hard sell for Obebo, given that Obaseki himself was an art collector of sorts and a known avaricious and positive human being. I can defend my statement. When the then representative of the palace to the Benin Dialogue Group Stock rendering reports of his interaction with PDG, His Majesty began to ask questions. The representative, Professor Gregory Aghatise, a maternal relation of Obaseki and father-in-law of this Enoti Obebo, who himself, incidentally, that Enoti Obebo was himself a special advisor to Obaseki on culture at the time. Now, Professor Aghatise eventually declined to attend other meetings of the Benin Dialogue. Mr. Chairman, if you wish, I can explain what the Benin Dialogue is or was, if it is necessary. You know that I can proceed.
I think we know what.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So, Professor Aghatise stopped attending the meetings when His Majesty was asking him questions because he was not reporting back. At a point, he declined to attend the meetings any longer. So, as his replacement, His Majesty appointed my humble self to represent the palace in activities of the Benin Dialogue. Now, I'll speak briefly on the first meeting I attended in London, the meeting of the Benin Dialogue. At the time of this meeting, Mr. Chairman, in October 2021, Obaseki and his cohorts had already begun to take steps to commandeer the restitution process. In October 2020, they had issued a notice of meeting to hold on the 22nd of October 2020 about Benin Royal Museum. This invitation was sent to select guests. I have attached a copy of that invitation and it's marked attachment 2. Of course, Obaseki's idea was to project the illusion that the Oba has sent his son as His Majesty's representative in their contraction. Indeed, up until recently, many people in Nigeria and abroad asked me if the Oba approved the son to be a representative of the palace in this whole Obaseki saga. This was because they saw his name, according to them, they saw his name as one of the directors of Legacy Restoration and also later at MOWAA. They said they also saw him in social media with Obaseki in Berlin. And if so, why does the palace still seem to deny the government LRT? Unknown to these people, prior to that, Obaseki had attempted to get His Majesty to sign over custody of Benin artifacts to LRT. As we all know, the Oba worked on this. In order to set the record straight, His Majesty then held a world press conference, which incidentally was the first and only one to date, when he unequivocally disowned this LRT and any association with them. Indeed, when a German delegation visited the Oba in the palace, His Majesty warned them again that it had nothing to do with Obaseki and his group. The Oba's statement to the delegation is attachment 4, Mr. Chairman, to this memo. Now, after the BPG meeting in London, the Oba had sent an address to the group, which I read on the Oba's behalf. The address again warned members of the Benin Dialogue group of the treachery of Obaseki and how he had betrayed the original idea of the Benin Royal Museum. Obaseki himself was present at the meeting and was seated when I read the Oba's address. Surprisingly, when it was Obaseki's turn to speak, in the did not controvert any of the assertions in August articles. I actually expected him to say something to the contrary. His only statement was to say, and I quote here, sir, the Benin Royal Museum will be built. End quote. After that meeting, during lunch, many members of the Benin Dialogue met me, and in our discussion, many of them said, when this whole Benin Dialogue started, the narrative was about Benin Royal Museum, that they were surprised to now be hearing of legacy restoration, but they don't know how and when Benin Royal Museum got changed to Legacy Restoration Trust. I'll continue, sir. Some events in Cambridge and Aghatise. I'll be very brief on this because here we have the start, well, not really, let me say the beginning of current repatriation of works to Nigeria. This was in Jesus College of Cambridge University. Again, I represented His Majesty at that meeting. To uncover the truth about it. The so-called donors must not point accusing fingers at people of the name. Rather, the various donors should conduct a thorough investigation into their own attitude and behavior towards people and royal cause of the name. They should hold only themselves to blame for allowing themselves to receive and donations obtained from them. Many individuals have to be investigated, and those found culpable should be prosecuted. Apart from the other principal characters in this monumental scam, Mr. Chairman, people like Professor Aghatise in Nigeria and Barbara China. I need to pronounce her name very well because of so much interaction about her. In Germany, should be called to account for their roles and motivation for convincing German and other donors to fall prey to scavengers.
For the sitting, the people and group represents and the House of Assembly members, Benin royal family, chiefs from the Oba Palace, led by Chief Osaro Ida, the Obazelu of Benin, the Benin Traditional Council Secretary, Mr. Frank Irabo, Coalition of Benin Social Cultural Organizations, Agwoba Swimming Group, and civil society groups. The committee also received letter from the UKGB where Comrade Curtis Ogbebo submit give the committee an Agwoba Swimming Group led by Osaro Kocho. For the end, the chairman for the committee, Honorable Adeyen, talk say the solicitor to MOWAA, Barrister Afolabi Oluyowala, SAN SAN, called the committee and also send written letter where concern the matter.
So what you have said to us is well received. It's actually very rich in content. On behalf of the committee, we want to express our profound appreciation to you. It is particularly delightful that those in the diaspora are joining hands with those of us back home to ensure that in the consideration of these matters, justice is done. We want to thank you most profoundly once again, and we assure you that the materials you have submitted to us will go a long way in helping this committee to reach a just and fair determination of the issues at stake. Thank you very much. Similarly, we have received a presentation from the Agwoba Swimming movement worldwide. Mr. Iyamo Osaro Kocho and Mr. Osayuki Sabesi. Like in the earlier case, we want to thank you most profoundly for your interest and enriching the discourse with your presentation. Thank you very much, and we will do justice to the presentation. We are most grateful. We received a letter today from the learned Silk Olaiwola Folabi SAN, representing MOWAA, and basically I'd like to announce for the benefit of those here present and indeed the general public at large that this is more or less a letter in which MOWAA has respectfully declined to make a formal verbal presentation in respect of whatever might be their rights or entitlements with regard to the MOWAA project. I also would like to say openly, in response to this letter, I'd like to give a very short response, which I had earlier given to the learned senior advocate when he was with us on Friday. On Thursday, thank you very much. And that is to say, firstly, the Edo State House of Assembly and the Edo State government are not involved in any litigation, in any courts in the Federal Republic of Nigeria with regard to the issue of MOWAA, which MOWAA, through their lawyer, Olaiwola Folabi SAN, presented to this committee, does not have either the Edo State House of Assembly or the Edo State government as parties to the suit. Therefore, it is crystal clear that that suit has absolutely nothing to do with the sitting of this committee, and the mere existence of a suit filed just about 1 week before this committee started sitting is of no moment and actually goes to no issue.
My name is Ambrose Messisima, and I report for Balan TV.